This is a special episode of Not Another Jimmy Late Night Show. We have a special guest tonight to talk about the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Minnelli.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Not Another Jimmy Late Night Show. Today we're doing kind of a different update since it's been about a year since the COVID pandemic has begun. Today, I'm doing a one-on-one interview with Governor Mike Dewine, who's taken some time to talk with us from his busy schedule about COVID and how COVID's affected his job and what he's been doing during COVID and only COVID. I have to say that I'm grateful to have him here in my studio. It is my honor to welcome Governor Mike Dewine in the Not Another Jimmy Late Night studio. Governor Dewine, I'm so excited to have you on Not Another Jimmy Late Night Show. I know you've been a very, very busy man, and I'm really thankful for the time that you're taking out here to come to the studio and do an interview with me.
Jimmy, the pleasure's mine, really. It's exciting to be on your show. I've heard so many good things, and frankly, I think it's good to bring some of that late night energy here to Ohio.
You know, it's been a year since the COVID pandemic began, and I wanted to ask you, how are you dealing with the anniversary of the lockdowns?
Jimmy, you're looking here 1 year odd. Like many Ohioans, I'm feeling some combination of grief and relief that COVID seems to be winding down slowly and surely. But we also must remind ourselves that once we can see to the things that are going on here, we can return our attention to the night sky, which is full of UFOs.
I know the lockdown started about a year ago, and I know there were a lot of Ohioans whose lives were uprooted from this. You know, they had to look for new hobbies. So my question to you is, have you and First Lady Fran Dewine come up with any new interesting hobbies on your own?
Fran, yeah. Fran and I certainly have. Although the pandemic has been keeping both myself and Fran very busy, we have spent a bit more time at home than we might have otherwise, did a bit more cleaning around the house. We've been cooking, although smaller meals, since the family has not been joining us for those in an effort to remain socially distanced. And of course, finally, we've had to double up on our number of telescopes so that we might observe the cosmos above and pinpoint and identify those UFOs that plague my nightly dreams.
Governor Dewine, if I may, I know you're very excited about the interstellar research with UFOs that Ohio's been doing, but I have to ask you, we need to stick with COVID for this interview.
Of course, Jimmy, my apologies. We'll continue with your line of questioning.
Please, let's stay on track, all right?
Of course.
So, Governor Dewine, there was a big national scandal about you having a false positive COVID test when they tested you prior to you meeting President Trump. Now, what was the fallout from that like?
Well, Jimmy, it's a great question, and of course, safety comes first when meeting with any head of state, but certainly the head of the United States, Donald Trump, president of the Republican Party, has a lot of influence over my policy, sadly, and so I was glad to take an instantaneous COVID test, and of course relieved that it ended up being false positive. Although I must say that when the test was administered, I was reasonably confident that I would return negative, considering that COVID-19 does not affect the reptilian humanoids, and of course, being one of them, I found myself unlikely to be infected.
Right. Governor Dewine, I'm happy and glad that your test results turn out to be a false positive, but we really need to stick to the interview script about COVID. We don't need to talk about lizard people anymore.
Very well, Jimmy. My apologies again. I'll try to refrain from talking about my very own species and love of my life, reptilian humanoids, and the place where we come from.
The next question I have for you is, during this extraordinary time, how did your relationship with Lieutenant Governor Husted improve?
Well, as you know, John is a chip off the old block. He's been a friend and colleague since the moment he was sworn in as Lieutenant Governor, and he's done an admirable job in making sure that our grocery stores are stocked, that our schools are safe, and we cannot wait for the work that we do on the vaccine to slowly but surely change his DNA into a reptilian humanoid so that he might later join us on the reptilian humanoid planet after this COVID nonsense is over.
I think that we've heard quite an interesting amount of information from you, Governor Dewine. Going back to COVID, we have one last question for you, and I think it might be the most important question is, if you could sacrifice a part of this great state of Ohio to end COVID completely, what part would it be and why?
Well, a hard question to answer, Jimmy, but unfortunately, I must say that, of course, I would have to sacrifice Toledo, as it is essentially Michigan, and we really have no place or time for people like that here.
Excellent answer, Governor Dewine. Well, again, I thank you for your time, and I think that we've really learned a lot about you and a lot about the future of the state of Ohio.
The pleasure's mine, Jimmy, and may we all end up immune from this horrible virus and join one another in hands on the reptilian humanoid planet many days from now. Just always good to be spending time in the company of warm-blooded animals again. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into this exclusive interview with Governor Mike Dewine. As always, stay safe. The pandemic's not over yet. Hopefully we can get all of our vaccines so you can see us in person soon. And if you haven't already, follow the Slumberjacks on Facebook and on YouTube. I hope you all have a very reptilian weekend. Good night.
This was a paid sponsor by Dunkaroo. There's a lot of fun in the middle.